Hello, and welcome back to The Sleepover. If you're new here, my name is Hannah Ruth Svita, and this is my YouTube channel. In 2016, I moved to Dublin, Ireland, and ever since then, I've made it everybody else's business. I'm originally from New York, and on this channel, we talk mostly Irish history while I make clothes. And then you get to buy the clothes on the internet, although nobody has. That's okay. I also have a dog. I don't know if you could tell. And this is actually his channel. I'm sorry, buddy, I was taking your spotlight. Do you want to say something to the people? Good job. And those are all my personality traits. So now it's time for you to tell me your personality traits down in the comment section. Cool. I'm glad we talked about it. Sorry I look so shit right now. It has been quite the week, and I am working every single day this week. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So we're in my pajamas, or we're all in my pajamas. Oh, yeah. I'm in my pajamas, and I've just walked the dog, and I'm getting ready for work. But beforehand, I have to do some crafting stuff. So we're going to get into what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, why I'm in my PJs, why I look like crap. But I know that you guys probably don't look so good right now either. Let's reflect on ourselves before we make comments, yeah? What are you wearing right now? And not in a sexy way, in a judgmental way. But let's dive into it. Today is not a history video. I apologize, guys. This is more of a reflection video, what I'm doing, what we're going to be doing moving forward, and after Halloween and that kind of thing. So Halloween is over, and now all my pumpkin stuff is not going to make sense anymore. So I have to throw it out the window. Being spooky is just spooky now, and not a cool Halloween flavor spooky. Hello. This is his channel. Sorry if you didn't know. You came for clothes and history. It's just dog. But this is what I call a Hannah's Hobbies video rather than a Hannah's Histories video. So what we're going to be doing now is drinking coffee, and I'm going to walk you through the roller coaster that is what I'm doing with my life. POV, you're 33 and have no idea what you're doing with your life, but you're throwing a bunch of stuff at a wall and hoping that it sticks. Anyway, what I'm making in my career moves... what I'm making and what I'm doing with my life and my career moving forward. So I'm going to be sewing some leaves onto a hat. I don't want to hear about it. It is going to make sense later. So we'll start off with my origin story because this is my channel. Shut the fuck up. And I do what I want. So for those of you who don't know, I've kind of traveled within a myriad of careers. I started off as a childhood special education major in a small college in upstate New York with a theater minor. And that is a whole different story I could get into, but that aren't all of our college years just a whole different story we could get into. But I taught kindergarten for like 2 years in a daycare facility, in like a daycare setting. And I realized this is hard. And you know, like I have full respect for teachers and what they do. Man, it takes drive, respect, responsibility, energy, money, 100%. Like 100% of what you are is a teacher. And then I realized that who I am as a person, I can't do this in the realm of children. You know, there is a saying in like the teaching community that working with kids is great birth control. And I think I'm a living testament to this. And like working with children all day was fun to a certain extent, but it is emotionally and mentally draining. It takes a lot out of you. A lot of your energy is gone at the end of the day. And I realized that someday I do want to have kids, and I can give myself 100% to a classroom while also giving myself 100% to children when I were to come home. And my dog has chosen this moment to need food. 1 second. I grabbed the Oreos. Shut up. So yeah, I always knew that if I were to have children, that one side of my life was going to get less energy and dedication from me. And also I just didn't want to be around kids all day anymore. Because like even teachers will tell you, and that's like, I love kids. I love hanging out. I have 3 godkids who I adore, and I would spend all day every day around those. It doesn't feel the same. I don't think like with my godkids, I could spend all day with them and not feel tired or like spent, you know, but spending your day around other people's kids who you don't who you don't love, you know what I mean? Like I love my godkids. I think that's part of it. I'm just like, I love watching them grow up, and this is like a part of their life. And with these kids, I'm just like, you're just a kid, you know, it's fine. And like, that's fine. And I love kids, but like, it's draining. And I think any teacher you talk to will tell you the exact same thing, spending all day with very small children, especially kids like kindergartners or first graders, 5 and 6 year olds. It's draining and it's a lot, and you have to have eyes on them all the time. You have to make sure that they're like constantly, you're vigilant, you know, which is like just part of the job. And I couldn't do it anymore. And I think that, you know, part of me feels shit that I'm not that person, but part of me feels like it's good that I've stopped, because I wouldn't want somebody half-assing it with my kids, you know? I wouldn't want somebody who isn't 100% into what they're doing to be a teacher, you know? So I needed to spend more time around adults. I moved back down to where I grew up towards the suburbs of New York City, and I got a job at a bakery. And eventually I got hired by a multi-level marketing company. It is a little different than what I think you're thinking. So let me just explain. I'm not about to shit talk this company. It's not my place. There are people there that I care about and love doing extremely well, by the way. So it's not the scam that you're thinking it is. Like they didn't promise me a fucking Mazda or like a car or something. And then like, that's not what this wasn't Lululemon or some nonsense. I wasn't selling essential oils or fucking shitty leggings or anything. And honestly, I think it was simultaneously both the best and the worst time of my life, or at least one of the best and the worst times of my life. Not the best or the worst, but well, it was there. While I was working 90-hour work weeks and going door to door, selling things and standing in shopping centers, flagging people down, I was living paycheck to paycheck. It was commission only, and I would assume well below the poverty line. I ended up moving down to Miami with this company for about 2 years. So I started off in New York and then I ended up down in Miami with different campaigns. So the way it worked was there was like a legion of trained salespeople, which was us and our manager, and companies would rent out us as salespeople essentially. So things like Comcast, No Likey, HelloFresh, Likey, I love HelloFresh, charities, like electric companies, those are neutral, like that kind of thing, HelloFresh actually at one point used us and rented us essentially to go around shopping centers and flag people down and get them to sign up for HelloFresh. It's called direct marketing, right? Like if you've seen those people standing in malls or shopping centers or Walmarts and be like, hey, have you seen the thing? That's one of us usually. So these were like legitimate companies that hired us out. This, like I said, this wasn't like fucking essential oils or leggings or some stupid like that, or like, and they didn't like promise you a fucking pink Mazda or pink convertible and then all of a sudden the money wasn't there, like this was all very much over the table renting salespeople out to make sales for your company, right? And like I said, I was in New York and Miami, but they were all over the country. And once you've kind of mastered the sales part, you were supposed to build a team and therefore an office, and then you had people underneath you, and then you were making a manager's salary or manager's commission from the company itself. So like it was a kind of, it wasn't, but you know how it works. That was the idea anyway. I never really got off the ground with it. I was good at sales, like the sales part of it, but I wasn't too good at the old, hey, do you want to do this with me as your boss part of it? So, and like I said, I did see others succeed and move forward in, this company structure, and I'm very happy for them. But I realized that was not my path. That's not what I'm going to be doing. So I left. And this is, I think, the part where you guys have always wondered what happens next. At least that's what I've been asked on certain videos and that kind of thing. I met a man, an Irish man. He will remain private. Obviously, he's a very private person, and we're not going to talk about him, but he is the reason I moved to Ireland. So maybe someday if, he's feeling happy to share, we could do like a little story time or whatever it is. But, it's not important to the story really and what I'm going to talk about. But that is why I moved to Ireland, was for a man. And when I got to Ireland, I was working in sales again, but this time over the phone for like a company. And it was the saddest, shittiest, worst company I've ever seen in my entire life. This company was absolute bullshit. This was the first company I worked for in Ireland. Or not the first one. I was, but it's an educational company, and it's just, ugh. Don't know how much I'm allowed to say over the internet, but this company pulled some shit I've never seen before in my whole life. It was a digital product that they sold, and it paid the women less than the men. And you know how I know that? It's because I was paid less than the men. All the men. Every single man in the whole company. I asked them what they were making, and I made less than them. And what's weird about it is that I came in with more experience and then got promoted. I got promoted from a basic over-the-phone sales job to a marketing position, and I still got paid less than all the men. And then when I brought it up to them, they said, who told you this? And I said, I'm not dropping names, bitch. Shut the fuck up. But also, every single man. You gotta fire every single fucking man? Do it. I don't give a shit. Anyway, they like stiffed people out of their commissions and like played some shit with, like, they like stripped people out of money. They also fired like 100 people right before their probationary period ended so that they didn't have to pay the recruiting companies that got them these people their commissions. Shady. And like, for those of you who don't know, a probation period, usually I think all of Europe does it, but I know specifically Ireland does do it. Like, a probation period is when a company hires you and then they have roughly 6 months to figure out if you are a good fit for the company. So like they hire you, they take this chance, and both you and the company can quit without any, or fire you without the notice given in a usual job. So normally it's like a 6 week, like if you quit or something like that, you have to give 2 weeks notice or 4 weeks notice or however long it is, depending on how long you've been there. But in a probationary period, you can quit and leave the next day. And in a probationary period, you can fire somebody without the usual means to fire them. Because usually in Ireland, if you fire somebody after the probationary period, you have to give them, I think, like 3 warnings and like a success plan, and then you can fire them. Whereas within the probationary period, within the first 6 months, you can just fire them because it's not working or your business plan has changed, etc. So it's a little bit of a safeguard for both the company and yourself. If the company doesn't live up to your expectations, you can quit. And if you don't live up to the company's expectations, they can fire you. But this probationary period for this company was 9 months, 3 months longer than the usual 6 months. Shady. And they hired like 100 people within like a few months of each other, or a few weeks of each other. And then they fired them all like 2 weeks before their probationary period ended. So they had full rights to fire them. But if they hadn't fired them, they would have had to pay the recruitment companies that they used to find these employees and pay them another commission. If you're a recruiter and you find an employee for a company, then you get a commission if they exceed their probationary period. So in order to save money, this fucking company just the shadiest shit I've ever seen. And honestly, after I left that company, everything, like all the other companies I've worked for have been great. Like I worked for 2 other tech companies, I think in Ireland, after that initial tech company that I worked for. Was working with a construction company, but that was just kind of like in between work while I got everything settled down. And then I started working for that tech company and that was shit. And then I worked for 2 other tech companies, both of which have been amazing. Obviously, no company is perfect. There are little things here and there that I wish, whatever, that would to be the perfect job for me. But all in all, I'd say I trusted the companies that I worked for after the initial shitty one. So the last few companies I've worked for have been really, really great. And I even so along this process of my career here in Ireland, I even moved from sales into customer support and tech support, which is what I wanted. Sales is stressful. And so that I wanted to move into a position where I was just helping people use the product, which was exactly what I wanted to do. My last company that I worked for, this previous company, I worked for them for 3 years. And they were really good to me. I had all the desired PTO. I think we ended up getting unlimited paid time off, which is amazing. And nobody takes the piss with it. Nobody's like, oh, I'm going to take the whole year off. Yuck, yuck. You end up getting some really great holidays out of it. I had parental leave if I wanted it. I had holiday days. I got to travel with the company sometimes, pension, insurance, dental. And it was a really great setup. I had a really fairly cushy job, but unfortunately I was miserable. What's wrong with me? And sad. I was fucking sad. Every day I think I cried just a little bit thinking about going into work again. And like I said, nothing to do with this company or what they were doing or the condition. I loved all the people I worked with. Everybody was super nice to me, and everything was going pretty well, but I hated what I was doing. I hated the nature of the work that I did. I was having daydreams of running off into the woods in a camper van or something and growing my own food so that I didn't depend on money to survive, so that I could become self-sufficient, so that I didn't have to go to work anymore. This was for reference, I have not lived outside of a city since 2014, I'd say. Roughly 2000. So going on 10 years now of not living outside of a city. I can't grow anything. That's what we were doing. So some city bitch in her stilettos going around trying to plant turnips or something. It would be hilarious. Great TV, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to happen. But that's the kind of thoughts I was having. And then I realized I was maybe I just hate my job. And then I thought about it, I was okay, well, let's change jobs. The industry that I've been in for the last 7 to 8 years has been tech. And I realized I was the concept, the absolute concept of moving from this tech job into just another slightly different tech job was so fucking awful to me. I was I'd rather become a lion tamer at a fucking zoo in the 1800s than go into another fucking tech job. And like I said, not a reflection of the companies I worked for. In the grand scheme of things, the job and the work I spent 40 hours a week doing was both A, pointless and didn't matter to anybody except for the people making money on this company, and 2, didn't make me happy or fulfill any purpose inside of me, and I was unsatisfied with that work. It really made me feel empty and lost. Spending 40 hours a week typing out emails for people who are not tech literate, answering people's questions who are paid more than me to do worse than it just grated. And I know you all know what I'm talking about. And I think if one of the 2 things had been fulfilled, right? It wasn't the most fulfilling or fun work, or it wasn't super enjoyable, but it really helped a better purpose. The software was calculating how much food it would take to solve world hunger, or the software was, a software used by scientists working on cures for fucking whatever, I think maybe I could justify it to myself, okay, this isn't the best job I've ever had, but I am working for something of a greater good. Or vice versa, it was a pointless job and it was whatever, and the purpose of it wasn't that great, but I genuinely enjoyed being there and I loved working with the people. I do love working with the people I was with. But if I genuinely enjoyed the work I was doing, I think then I could have stayed. But it was both pointless and boring. I'm out, folks. I have to take a chance here. So I saw myself doing something different. When I thought of myself 10 years down the line, I wasn't in technology in my head. And I had to kind of figure out what that was. And, I had to really reflect and take in what I wanted to do. And that was making things, clothes, decorations, hats, dolls, sewing, crocheting, knitting. Like, these are the things I love to do. This is the thing I wake up every day looking forward to. That and history, talking about most Irish history. I'm in this incredible country, and I'm so lucky to be here. And like, this is what I want to be talking about and to be doing and show people. And, I had been making some videos at the time. I was kind of dipping my feet into making content, but obviously my work took up a lot of time. My 40-hour full-time tech job, obviously. And I realized that, I checked the finances and I realized that if I stayed within certain budgetary restrictions, I could feasibly quit my job and really make a go at this and really throw myself into this and potentially build a career that I like, that I want to be doing, and not just wake up every day and want to cheese grate my fucking face. So that's what I did. I left my job in July of 2023. Since then, I've been kind of slowly throwing myself into content creation and dividing my time between the Etsy store, the YouTube channel, the TikTok account. And it's been a learning curve. Like, I haven't been perfect at it, but I think I'm working pretty hard. And, what really makes this special and important and feasible are you guys. So I want to say thank you for tuning in, for watching. It just makes me so happy that other people like it. I think I get a lot of satisfaction when people like what I do. When you bake for somebody and you're like, I made you this cake, and they're like, it's delicious. You're like, thanks. I think that's what I feel with a video. When somebody likes the video, I'm just like, you like what I made? You like what I made you? I made it for you. That's kind of the childlike feeling I have in my brain. Moving slightly forward on this journey of mine, about a month and a half after quitting my job and throwing myself into this, my mom came to visit and we went on a tour. So my mom has been here a lot. She used to live in Belfast. She lived up there for a year. And my mom and my dad and now my brother usually visit me every year here in Dublin. And then I go back once a year and visit them. But they've been here quite a bit. My mom was like kind of running out of ideas to do in Dublin. So we started to do things that we had always wanted to do, but like never got a chance to do. Things that we saw and we're like, oh, we should do that. But like, oh, we're going to be so busy. You know what I mean? So we finally got a chance to do this tour that we had really been wanting to do for a long time and that we never got a chance to do. And it was called the Vintage Tea Trips Tour. And it's an afternoon tea experience with like a semi-guided tour around Dublin. And it's on a 1961 vintage bus. Oh my God. Like, this has ticked all of my boxes. Like, obviously, you take a look at me and anything that I put on this channel, bar this one video because we're in comfy, cozy clothes, shut the fuck up. Like, and you'll be able to tell that I love vintage clothes, music, and, history, right? And vibe and caffeine. Yeah. So don't even talk to me without my coffee. Hashtag millennial bullshit. So like history tidbits, vintage vibes, everything that I love. And I fell in love with this company. Like, I mean, I went on this tour and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever fucking seen. I could 100% get behind this. And I was like, I wonder if they're hiring. They were not advertising that they were hiring, but I found their website and I applied for a part-time job and I got it. So for the last couple of months, I've been working part-time as a tour guide / server on the Vintage Tea Trips bus. You might have seen me there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But if you have seen the bus, I might be on there. So give me a shout. And like, to be honest, even the worst day on the tea bus beats the best day in the tech world for me. Even if everything were to go wrong on the tea bus and like everything disintegrates underneath us, that would still be better for me than having a great day at the office and everything goes well and the customers are happy. And like, at least seeing people having a good time and telling them random facts about like Irish history is something I genuinely loved doing, better than delicately crafting an email to a boomer baby about what an extension is for an email. Like, oh yeah, sure, I could see how you could get confused with the word extension. Yeah, it does make the email sound longer, or that it would make the email longer. Yeah, listen, is there somebody younger I could talk to? So that's what's happening now. I'm splitting my time between a part-time job at the Vintage Tea Trips company and doing that, and then working on content creation and my small business making clothes. So it's hard. It's a lot of stuff that I'm doing and I'm working 7 days a week. There was that old, like, I don't know, it was going around small business TikTok. I don't know, small business talk. You get it. It was like, I hated working 9 to 5. So I started a business and now I work 24/7. Bruh. And that's 100% true. But what we are moving towards. So in the short term, I will be in a craft show on December 3rd at the Áras Cronin in the village of Clondalkin. I'll put the address here. Very good. And I'm going to be making some cute stuff. What I'm making now, here, I'll show you one of them. I'm going to be making some cute stuff for Christmas. So I have buntings. I'm going to put up pictures of these, by the way. Buntings, hats, the skirt that I made that I showed you on Instagram. I have hair clips and all these things. And this is one example of a hat. It is a Christmas pudding. Look how cute. It's a beanie, but it's a Christmas pudding. Anyway, that's going to be there. I'm going to have a bunch of other stuff. I'll put up pictures now. Maybe I'll do a little montage of my shit that I'm putting up there. None of this is on Etsy yet. I'm going to try to put it up on the craft show first. So please make your way to the craft show if you want first dibs or if you want to make sure that you get something. And that which does not sell, I will put on Etsy, obviously. So anything that doesn't sell on December 3rd, the Christmas stuff will be going up on December 4th. So fear not, if you do not get a chance to get to the stuff or my crafts on December 3rd in Clondalkin or in the RS Cronin, then check out the Etsy store afterwards, but no guarantees that the same stuff will be there because people come with the intention of buying Christmas crafts at this market. So if you're worried about going out to Clondalkin, maybe you have kids, Clondalkin is great for kids. The Christmas market will be kid friendly. Last time I went, there was like ice cream and hot chocolate and like toy. It was great. It was really great. And of course, there's a pub in the RS Cronin for afters. And then if you're just in Clondalkin for the day with your kids, you should check out the Round Tower. Clondalkin is home to one of the last fully roofed round towers. So it's one of the last ones with a roof in Ireland. And it is very, very old. I won't get into round towers just now because I could just go on and on about that. But Clondalkin is home to one of the last ones. There's only a few in Ireland that still have the original roofs. And then there's a little museum off of this round tower and it's kid friendly. So you can go in and you can learn more about round towers and it's kind of built out for kids. And there's a cafe on that museum. So if you're in Clondalkin for the day, Round Tower Museum with the cafe, Christmas market with, hot chocolate and my crafts. And then, you could take the Lewis back into town. I just planned your weekend. You're welcome. But I won't be at the market. Sorry. I'm going to America. So I will be coming back on the day of the market. So in order to make myself a little bit less stressed out, I have found a replacement American. My friend Masya, who also lives here, she will be at the market in my stead selling my stuff. So she'll be the one selling it to you so you can still get your American fix, but she is from Boston, so don't challenge her to a fight. She will fight you. She will win. She's shorter than me, but she will win. What a great time to segue into shameless self-promotion. If you want to support me and you can't get to the market or buy any of my stuff, you can always just follow me on my social medias, like and subscribe to all my channels, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that crap. I also have a tip jar if you just want to send me a $5, whatever it is. Anyway, long-term goals. We've talked short term. I'm doing the small business thing. I'm building that up, trying to get more into YouTube and get some sponsors here on YouTube. But honestly, for long term, I'm thinking pretty big. I want to start a clothing brand. I want my clothing brand to be an international brand. I want to be making and designing the clothes that I love and I think other people will love as well. And creating content surrounding these ventures. I want to take you guys along for the ride. Let's build a brand together, babes. Now, does full-time history and clothing content mesh together? I don't know. I'm making my own job, baby. This is an experiment. I've never done this before. I'm going on 33 and I'm figuring it all out for the first time. You know what I mean? So here we're in this together. Let's see. I want to see my clothes in brick and mortar stores. And I also want to see my clothes on celebrities. This is the kind of thing I'm thinking about. And this is what I want to be moving towards. So I want Savita, my brand, to be a designer label. That's so bougie to say, what notions, you know what I mean? But this is kind of what I want to be doing. And that's the vision I have for Savita. But I also have this kind of vision. So the clothing I want to make is the classic kind of vintage old money look clothing, right? That kind of aesthetic. I want to be making it in classic cuts, fabrics, and silhouettes. I want, what inspires me is Kate Middleton or the original Chanel's, right? Despite the fact that Chanel was a terrible person, her clothing back in the 40s and 50s was just unbelievably beautiful. And I want to be making these clothes, but not just for skinny, cis white people. You know what I mean? Because the old money aesthetic is amazing, but the only people I see really gaining kind of momentum and attention on the internet for this stuff are the people who have originally always had access and were allowed to wear these things, skinny white supermodels with blowouts, which is don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with that, but where are the big people? Where are the fatter people? Where are the plus size people? Where are the black people? Where are the disabled people? Where are the trans people? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Is old money not for everybody? Can we not all just and if I'm missing some sort of incredible creator that does this look and is not a skinny cis white person, please let me know. Obviously, I definitely want to follow them and be friends and mesh vibes. That's not sexual, by the way. Vibe meshing is fine. But I've seen a lot of people in my own life, trans and cis, who are sized differently than the ideal. So like my partner is actually a very petite man. He's cis, but he's also a very petite man, and he has a lot of trouble finding clothes that fit him and flatter his body. And I was thinking, I was like, if a cis man is having a problem for being too small for these clothing, I wonder if there's any trans men out there who feel the same way. And I was like, so I'm wondering, like, how hard is it to find fucking men's clothes as a trans man in certain parts of physical transition, if that's what they choose to do? And then I was thinking, what about trans women? Like, the women's clothing is impossible to fit anyway, and all the sizes are different. And for somebody at maybe whatever age you're physically transitioning at, and now you're just navigating the fucking women's section, like, that's horrendous. Like, I'm wondering, like, is there a way to fit people with different bodies in the classic silhouettes? Bigger people, trans people, disabled people, anybody. Like, I want to make sure that's kind of the vision I have for Savita, right? Like, old money for everyone, 1950s supermodel for everyone, right? I want old money looks for every body. That's kind of my vision for Savita. Inclusive class. Inclusive. Ha! Crack myself up. I'm my own target audience. Hopefully by saying all this and it makes it more real in my head, by telling you guys and making it known, potentially it makes it all a bit more real for me. Now, as for next week, it will be history, I promise. So in the next 2 weeks, I will be releasing a video that is a Hannah's Histories video, and it will be mostly Irish history, back to that stuff. I'm going to be going back to my hometown in New York for Thanksgiving, and you're coming with me. I'm going to be vlogging the thing. That's going to be the last video. So late November, early December, probably in the first few days of December, last few days of November, I'm going to be taking you through the hotspots of New York City in terms of Irish immigration. We can do a little tour of the actual places where the gangs of New York took place, which is in Lower Manhattan. So I'll be walking you guys around there. Leonardo DiCaprio has not gotten back to me on whether or not he can join me. Still hopeful, even though I am well above his age limit. I'll be going to Ellis Island, where most of the Irish immigration in the 1800s were processed. And not only just Irish immigration, all European immigration really got processed through Ellis Island. There's kind of on the two sides of the United States, there was Angel Island off the coast of California, where most Asian immigration was processed through. And then there was Ellis Island on the East Coast in New York, where most European immigration got processed through. And not only will we take a look at the very first immigrant to be processed through Ellis Island, which was an Irish lady from Cove, but we can also take a look at my family, who was also processed through Ellis Island in the early 1900s. So yeah, so my last name is in Ellis Island. It's on a roster in there. I went when I was a teenager and I saw my great grandfather's name, and I have the same last name as him. So it was very, very cool to say oh, Savita, there he is. So I'm going to be going through Ellis Island and taking a look at that. So I hope you guys are ready for that. It's going to be fun. And they were from Italy, for anybody asking. So my great grandparents are from Italy. And then my grandpa was the youngest of 11 children. 11. And he was the last one. She was a grandmother before she was done being a mom. Anyway. And also, Odie is going. He just perked up. He's like, I'm what now? So yeah, he's going to be coming with me, and he's a barker. So fingers crossed. He's going to be going on the plane with me as well. He's going to be my carry-on luggage. Thoughts and prayers for me and Odie. And maybe some Percocet, if you got it. But it's going to be great. So that's going to be the end of the month. The end of the month is going to be Hannah's History, New York Irish immigration and history. I love it. I love it so much. That's my favorite flavor, I think, of mostly Irish history is the New York flavored Irish history, obviously. Oh shit, no, I forgot to mention. It's going to be Thanksgiving, and I'm taking you guys to Thanksgiving as well. You're all coming to Thanksgiving with me. You're all invited. We're going to have turkey. We're going to have mash. We're going to have that potato dish with all the marshmallows on top of it. It's going to be good. It makes sense. It'll make sense. I am going back to sewing all of the leaves and the berries on these hats. Takes a long ass time. Looks kind of like a boob, but it's not. Why are you so weird? Anyway, that is the end of the month. That's coming at November, last week of November, first week of December. That should be up, but I thought I owed you a who is this bitch video, and the plan moving forward. Also, like and subscribe, or I will make you eat the potato dish with the marshmallows on it. And you're going to have to pretend to like it because it's very rude to not like the food I make. Okay, I love you. Buy my stuff on Etsy. Okay, I love you. Bye. 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 We're most European. The vertical I've been in the let's go industry. Jiminy Cricket. My dog's eating tissues. It's fine. God, I'm so puffy this morning. Don't tell me I look puffy. I know. You need a wipe down.